let's get this show on the road. I'd like to call the June meeting of the West Fargo Public Library Board of Directors to order. The first thing on the agenda is to approve the order of agenda. I would like to propose a change to that order. Actually, no, I don't have to. The Library Board candidate statement opportunity is first, so no public comment?
Correct.
All right. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Well, do we need to approve the agenda, the order of the agenda first?
Let's approve the order of the agenda. I beg your pardon.
I'll make that motion to approve.
I second.
There's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any comments, questions, concerns? Push the button. All right, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right. I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to new business, the library board candidate statement opportunity. There are no candidates here at the moment. We have a statement from Sarah Westdahl.
Yep, we have one written statement, and then we have one candidate online. So you want to start with the written one?
Let's start with the written one.
Okay. Sarah Westall says, I'm currently a librarian with a strong commitment to community engagement, equitable access to information, and know firsthand the vital role libraries play in people's lives. Over the years, I have had the privilege of developing and leading public library programs that serve a wide range of ages and interests, from early literacy initiatives to technology training and cultural events. I also proudly serve as a member of the Friends of the Library, where I help support and advocate for the continued growth and success of our local library. I'm seeking a position on the West Fargo Library Board because I want to help shape the future of a library I care deeply about. My experience as a public librarian has shown me the power of programming to connect and uplift communities. I believe my perspective can add value to board discussions around strategic planning, community outreach, and innovation. As a Friends of the Library member, I've already seen the impact of strong community support, and I want to continue that work at a board level to ensure the library remains a dynamic, inclusive space for learning, connection, and growth for all in West Fargo.
Thanks, Jenna. There is another candidate online. Is that what you said?
Yes, Jody. Jody, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hopefully. Okay, perfect. I guess my name is Jody Roeder. I don't know if you have my application or not. If you have it, you can certainly read it. I'm a West Fargo resident. I'm currently employed at a manufacturing facility right here in West Fargo, and I have a deep passion for reading. I run a book club myself and love everything about the library. I'm a fond patron of it. So anything else, if you have questions, feel free.
Thanks, Jody. Does anyone have any questions for Jody? Jody, I'm afraid we have no questions for you.
Okay.
So we could move to a vote. Do you want to do that?
We have three
We have three
candidates, yep.
Jenna, did you have anything? Okay.
Since it's public information, should we just state that there were 4 candidates, but somebody's removed their name?
Sure, yep, there were 4 candidates, 4 applications in the packet. Larry has removed his application, and so the remaining are 3. So Tyler Erickson, who could not be here this evening, he sent his regrets, but he said he'll be watching the meeting. And then the 2 that we heard statements from this evening.
Alrighty, we will have to vote on each candidate separately. Do we need a motion to vote for a candidate?
Or you could have some discussion.
Yep,
too.
I think maybe discussion, but I don't want to lead the discussion.
Okay. All those in favor of having Alana start out?
Yeah.
All right, I really don't know what form that discussion should take. We've read our information.
I mean, all three candidates, I think, use the library, and it, based on paperwork and even just verbally or written tonight, have a passion for the library, which is great.
And a desire to serve the public.
Yep.
Alana?
Well, I'd like to echo your statements. I think they were all very good. Yeah, agreed.
All right, I did check the minutes for the last time we elected board types and didn't find much about the process, and of course, I don't remember what the process was. But,
We had two internals,
yes,
yeah, so it was maybe a little easier last time.
do we need to have a motion?
I think,
Or should we just
well,
take names and raise hands? All right, let's do that.
okay.
So, we'll start with, let's start with,
Can you describe the process again? What is it that you want us to do?
I'll say a name, and we'll raise our hands if we want to approve that person.
Okay.
Is that all right?
With a limit of two.
Yes.
A limit of
We
two.
can only
Okay.
vote for
Two
two.
out of three. Vote for two only. We shall
Okay.
not move on to three, but remain at two.
Okay,
But you'll say three names.
I will say
Yeah.
three names.
okay.
Okay.
And our,
This is
The last time we did, I was a part of something like this when there was external candidates and no internal candidates. It was before we were in a public format. And,
yeah.
So it was a little different.
And I think any, maybe feedback, when I was part of the park board in a town in Minnesota, when we would go through this process, we would do an interview process prior to. So for next time, that might be, I shouldn't even look at you, but for next
could be
time.
him.
It could be you. Maybe that's a good suggestion, just to get to know the candidate a little bit better. That doesn't help for tonight.
No, and if you choose to do that for the next round, then we need to have candidates apply somewhat earlier than they do now.
Sure, fair enough. Yep.
All right, all those in favor of Jody Rutter's application for the board, would you please raise your hands? All right, that is one. All those in favor of Sarah Westall's application to the board, would you please raise your hands? And all those in favor of Tyler Erickson's application to the board, would you please raise your hands? According to my tally, the successful applicants are Sarah Westall and Tyler Erickson. Thank you very much, Jody, for your application.
Could I make a motion to bring these names forward to
They
the,
have to go to the.
to the
yes,
commission?
Yes, please, make that motion.
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? All those in, any discussion of that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Let us hear from HR about closing early on September 4th. I, for one, am outraged, but please, go ahead.
So first off, I will admit to a small heart attack when you said that one of the nominees was Sarah, and then you paused, and I went, I didn't come here for that. So I'm good now.
That's why you're here.
We're good. No,
I think the Railroad Committee chose you. That's,
that would be it. So tonight I am in front of you to ask that you kindly consider closing the library a little bit early on September 4th of 2025. The reason for this is we are looking to hold an employee engagement event over at the Light Center. It's going to be a very, kind of casual event, but we do recognize employees who have had certain milestone years, as well as an opportunity for all employees to come and mingle with their colleagues from all departments. And so we are hoping that you will grant us this request, again, to just close a little bit early, September 4th at 4 PM.
any questions for Sarah? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the library at 4 PM on September 4th.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the library on September 4th. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Sarah.
Yep.
She's up for the next.
And you all,
I'm going to
yes,
stay put. I think I'm most of your
don't
agenda.
go anywhere.
I'm not very good at this thing. Hello again. No. So my next item on your agenda is Lexipol. Recently, the city has moved to proceed with implementing a software called Lexipol, or KMS. The two names are interchangeable. The reason for this software is to have a place where we can combine all of our city-generated policies, and I say it that way because this would not include state policies or anything of that sort. They are city-generated policies, so that they are easy to find for both the employees and eventually the public. People can reference them and use them accordingly. Since the library employees are also city employees, we need the board to approve the use of Lexipol for the holding of the policies for the library, as well as the ones that the city has in there as well, making it essentially the new handbook. So each year, we bring our handbook forward to you all in order to have you approve it, and then we have our commission approve it, and it becomes effective for all employees citywide, including the library. With Lexipol, that handbook will be a thing of the past by the end of this year. I say it that way because the policies are becoming expired as they are approved in Lexipol. And so basically, we won't have a handbook for you this year. We won't be coming forward with a mass document to say, hey, can you approve all of these in mass? We will be having a policy by policy sharing of those policies that go out to employees in small batches, because there's way too many of them to release it all at once. And we'd like to know that our employees are looking through them before acknowledging them. And so they're going out in small batches, but that makes it inefficient for us to bring in each one of them to this board to have them approved. So we're looking for you guys to agree to use Lexipol in lieu of a handbook. And then my next agenda item kind of shows how that will work exactly.
Any questions for Sarah?
Yes. Are there policies, and maybe this is more for Jenna, but the library is a city entity, but it's also a little bit separate. Will the Lexipol accommodate any policies that may be specific to the library? Or maybe that's not a non-issue?
So certainly we can, so a policy like our collection development policy, something like that, that's only just for the library, could be housed on Lexipol. Currently, we just have them on our website for the public to access and see where those are. And to just be very easily accessible to the public, I think we will continue to have those on our website as well. But they could also be housed in Lexipol.
So is that the goal? The end goal?
To be determined. I think
Okay.
we're kind of playing a little bit of wait and see how the rollout with Lexipol goes before we determine if we want to move all of our just library-specific things into there as well.
So right now, so for us to adopt this policy, or to adopt this action, it would just be for those general city policies, not any of the library specific policies.
Right, so we're talking about the things that would be in the employee handbook, like vacation, dress code, things of that nature that were in that employee handbook that we approved annually.
And by moving forward with this action, would there be any changes that we wouldn't be aware of to the policies?
That's the next item.
Well, I want to
But,
get to that item.
but yeah, we'll get to that.
I would just add in addition to that, in Lexipol, we have already built it, although it can't be seen by employees yet, because again, we're releasing it slowly but surely. But we have already built it so that each department, which we do consider the library to be a department, has their own chapter in there where they can house whatever policies apply specifically to their people. So there are some policies, for example, our engineering department may have a policy on something engineering related. That wouldn't apply to all employees necessarily. They would only be things that the engineers want to know. And so those would be put under that engineering chapter.
For any general policies, though, there's no adjustments in the policies as we're making the transition to the new system.
I would say 90% of the adjustments are the template themselves. They are,
That come from West Fargo, so we're keeping the same policies, but we're housing them somewhere differently. Is that correct?
essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yes, there have been some minor tweaks, nothing of extreme note, shall we say.
Can we table the vote on it until we hear what item number 5 is?
Well, there's no vote.
There's
so
no vote on
There's
this?
no vote on the
Okay,
update from
it's just
HR.
an-
The next,
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
so then there is a next agenda item
Okay.
that has an action.
so that's it for that one. Going into the third one, if I just click on it, is it going to blow up? I don't trust these things. All right, so in Lexipol, the policies are each given a number, and the chapter 1 is the organization itself and the operation. So it houses all of your very general policies that apply to all city employees and the city as a whole. In that is policy 101. As I stated in your agenda item here, it is lovingly referred to as one policy to rule them all, kind of an idea. The basis of this policy is to have it so that the different entities, such as the library director, the city administrator, the airport manager, can approve some policies in accordance to this policy. I get to say the word policy a lot doing this. So if you take a look at policy 101, which has been provided for you, and this is the format that Lexipol policies come in as an additive there, but the purpose and scope of this one is to basically make it so that any policies that are not, it goes through, that are not financial commitments, the city's governance, or in this case, the library's governance, legal obligations, et cetera, those must still be approved by our commission. We would like to add a paragraph to this policy for the other entities that have independent boards, such as the library, to be able to grant the same power to their leaders of those different entities. So in this case, it would be the library director. The power that we're asking for within the policy is simply that for things like the dress code or leave, things of that sort, Jenna could offer us that approval so that they can be issued out to our employees in a more timely manner. If it had any financial impact to the library or legal obligations to it, those policies would still be brought forth to the board here before they would move on to be issued out to employees. So again, this policy just outlines where that line is between what Jenna would be able to approve and what she would have to bring to the board for approval, or someone would bring to the board for approval. We have the same thing already set up and approved by the city commission for the city administrator and the commission itself. Robin can maybe explain that a little bit better than I can.
I think I'm confused. So with the agenda 4, it doesn't state it's an action. There's no action there up top. But it does say that in the second paragraph there that we're asking the library board to adopt Lexapro as its new handbook platform. Is that Agenda 5? It doesn't look like Agenda 5. Agenda 5 looks like Policy 101. So do we need to, one, adopt Lexapro, and then two, adopt Policy 101? And then it brings me to my question, what if we don't adopt it? Then where does the library board sit, or the library in general?
Sure. I think for agenda item 4, it is not so much that you need to adopt it as acknowledge it as the new handbook. If you would like to make a motion on that, to have that be acknowledged or adopt it, whatever terminology you would like to use, please do. We do need an action on item 5, which is the granting of authority for how those policies are made. And as far as your question on what happens if we don't, then you end up with an entirely separate policy manual that would be maintained at the library.
One thing I'd like to add is in my discussions with the city administrator prior to city commission adopting this is if the city commission did not give the authority to city administrator to approve these policies, they would dress code, vacation, et cetera, all that would be coming to the city commission. So I would imagine it'd be the same thing coming to the library board for any little change. And so we'd be, as a board, we'd be looking at a lot of policy changes potentially each month.
Yeah, so to add to that, there currently in Lexapol are, I believe, about 74 policies that are ready to go, for lack of a better term. They're ready to be issued out to employees. Without Policy 101 in place, we would have had to bring all 74 of them in front of commission to have them approved one by one by one. Taking away the handbook setup, it's no longer approved in a group. And so that's what we were trying to gain through this policy is the efficiency thereof. The only thing that can be changed on all policies without bringing it in front of a board or commission is minor grammatical things. Or if we had it listed in the policy that the contact for HR was Sarah Goshevich and I left, then we could update that policy without bringing it forward to the board with whomever would take my position, for example.
So the agenda item 4 is is informative.
Yep.
Fait accompli, we know that the city has gone with this product. Hopefully the software is maintained and it's not sold to some.
Our police department has actually had this for a few years already, and they were the proponents for us adopting it as well. Our fire department has also signed on for it. So we now have 3 separate modules, if you will, within Lexapol.
The item requiring our action, does it require our action?
No, Agenda 5 does. We have to approve to adopt the Policy 101.
Okay.
And I just want to state that any board, the commission board, the library board, we are a board of policy. Like, that is our role, is to look at policy and make sure that we understand policy, because that's how we lead. And so I don't hear us like getting away from the specific library policies.
Right.
And so I just publicly want to note that our role is actually policy. And it is to uphold policy and make decisions based on the best for our community. So I just want to publicly say that.
Okay.
I don't want to lose our focus on policy.
If I may, one way that we could address that to make that feel better, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
Is possibly, just like I would come forward once a year with the handbook and say, hey, please update this, we could have it be an agenda item once a year, semi-annually, whatever, where any policies that were updated and approved by Jenna would then be brought forward in a listing of, here's what we've changed. Of course, you guys would have access to Lexapol to be able to view those policies yourself, as commissioners do. We don't require that you acknowledge them because you're not employees, you're elected officials, but you can view them.
I do have concerns over it. I understand from your side where it makes a lot of sense, but we are responsible for the policy, and we are a separate board and given authority through the Century Code that the police department doesn't have a board like we do, and the fire department doesn't have a board. So I don't know exactly where I lie on this. but it's not a clear-cut decision from my perspective for the library board to do this.
What doesn't make it clear?
It gives, so just reading the policy, so assuming that Jenna would have the same, or the director of the library, I don't want to put your name to it, would have the same policies authorized by the city administrator. So operational administrative policies governing daily operations, internal controls, personal governance, and procedural matters. I just think that if we close ourselves out of it and we have a ill-intentioned director at any point in time, we're coming in too late to adjust it.
To that end, I would state that's where I come in. Because we are talking 90% of these are your employment policies. If we were to have an ill-intent director, again, not Jenna, but if we were.
Yes.
That would be something that I'm also involved in writing all of these policies. And so I will have seen them. If at any point I felt that the director was going in a way that was not conducive or beneficial for the library, I would bring that to your attention. So the director will not be able to write policies that speak to the employment things, such as the dress code, making a nice, easy one. The library director will not write the dress code for the library employees. They will simply approve the dress code that is written for all employees at the city. The only ones that would be written potentially by that director would be those housed in the chapter that is for the library. Which are board. Yes.
The library director would not be able to make an end run around the board because the policies would have to come through the board. The library policies would have to come through the board.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a way to adapt it for in the future? Because it's policies requiring city commission authorization, but the library board does have authority as well to add.
And that's where it states in that second paragraph there, where it references the city commission, you can input the library board.
Okay.
And then where it references the city administrator, that is where your library director
Okay.
would
I wasn't
fall in.
understanding that. Thank you.
Any other questions for Sarah or Jenna? Any other concerns from this body? All right, then I will entertain a motion to approve Policy 101.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second? I will second. Discussion. All right, we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor of approving Policy 101, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
We have tied. So we're going to have to bring this back to another board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
If there is anything I can do to provide insight or maybe examples of which policies would fall where, please let me know. I'd be happy to provide that to help you out.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, thank you, Leanne. Good luck.
Thanks.
Be careful out there.
Let's not be playing.
Even so.
Oh, even so is right, thank you.
Okay, so just to note that the next board meeting will be the 10th of July. Director's report, Jenna.
Yes. Finances are looking great. Our expenditures through May, we're about 40% expended. So again, we continue to be right on track. Satellite library usage is looking good. Our door count in May was 387. We made 10 library cards, and our physical circulation out of The satellite was over 550 items. While we were slightly down with physical circulation in May, we saw 1,000 more electronic circulation than last year. So that total circulation was up. Last month, when we talked about our door count, we noted that the door count was slightly under what we had expected for April. And I had guessed that that was due to our school visits and that we had spread out the school visits into May. And so, yes, it does look like that is what actually happened. So that May foot traffic number ended up being quite high, we think because of those school visits continuing into May. Youth programming continues to be so popular. We're really excited to be able to utilize the gym in the school this summer, in particular for our craft programs. One of our board members popped in the library the other day when we were using it for crafts and noted that, hey, I think it's louder in the library right now than it is in the gym. The kids are just so focused on their craft projects that they were working on, and it was so calm having that space and having enough tables and supplies set out in one area that we could help everybody in one space versus having kids in the hallway and multiple rooms and spread out all over, which feels more chaotic. So thank you to the school for being flexible and letting us use that space. Our summer kickoff party had 234 in attendance, and you can see some of the pictures there from that. For adult programming, our arts and hobby classes remain some of our most popular events. Our adult services team has recently added some financial literacy classes with local educators doing those classes. We also had a really fun pollinator garden class that you can see in the picture there. We hope to have some additional financial literacy classes in the fall as well. And just a reminder, the summer reading challenge is not just for kids, it's for all ages. So encourage adults to sign up and participate in that as well. Sign up for that reading challenge is online, on Beanstack, or in the library. Our outreach services has been very busy. In May, we were at the Red River Spring Market. We went to the Head Start picnic, and we also did a preview of our summer Library on Wheels route. And the Library on Wheels route is out rolling. So we were at Maplewood Park, Dakota Park, and Goldenwood Park. Willow Park, Aurora, and Eastwood.
I have a
are the next
question.
Elementary pop-ups.
At the elementary pop-ups, as a parent of an elementary student who argued it with them about whether or not they should go, do you have more difficult books at the elementary schools, or do you adapt what books you bring to different stops to meet the needs of the stops?
Yep. The collection on the van is tailored for each individual stop. So now that we have that specialty shelving with a ramp and carts that we can just roll on and lock into place, we're able to very quickly swap out the collection on the van for each individual stop. And we're keeping track of what's being checked out, whether kids or adults are asking for particular things. Cass and the interns and others working with that are doing a really good job of really tailoring what we're bringing. I also wanted to note that the elementaries that we picked are ones where we know that there is a lunch program being offered. We wanted to make sure that we are there when the kids are going to be there. So we're making sure we're catching an audience that's pre-existing and wanting and needing those services. Our technical services crew recently added around 700 new items to the catalog. And we also added 3 new Storytime kits. Those Storytime kits have been hugely popular. It's a clear backpack with a variety of materials inside, books, activities, and it's a great resource for even like a babysitter to check out. It's like your whole evening plan. Or if you are a daycare provider or just gonna hang out with kiddos this summer, those kits are wonderful. Another big project starting soon this summer is we will be adding the series information to the children's chapter book spine labels. As a parent, I am so excited about that. It's hard to find what books go with what series sometimes, and so I think that's really going to help out a lot of families and a lot of those readers. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the monthly.
And that's one that we just attach. We did have some pieces of that included in the board packet. Director's report.
Danny.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
As my final act on the board of directors, I will make that motion.
And I think that I will reserve the right to second that motion.
All right.
So it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ah. All right, thanks, guys.